Hello, hello. Audio check, camera check. Let me know if you can see me or hear me. Thank you, thank you. Don't forget to write your questions. If I see them pop up, I'll answer them as we go. And it is 12:59. Gonna talk about this. The new planting of Bok Choy and the NFT about this. If we have time, we can talk about these plants and why I'm letting them flower, and of course update on the tomato. We'll take a close-up. So welcome everybody to the third update of my hydroponic system in the Botany House at the Dallas Center. Everybody is welcome to come visit if you're close, if you like to come and see it in person and ask a lot more questions. Just email me, make an appointment, and we'll be happy to teach you everything I know, which is not a lot. Okay, let's start. Okay, as a reminder, this is the open Dutch bucket system, meaning the water goes from the solution tank, goes out to the plant, and does not return to the tank. It goes out here as waste. So I'm gonna dig a hole and have a bucket to catch the solution so that we can use it somewhere else, measure it, and see how well it is. So these plants are 2 months old. They should be in full fruit by now. And the only explanation I have is because there's not enough light. These do well in full sunlight. This is sweet and neat variety. That's what it's called, sweet and neat. It is patio tomato, so it is designed to be compact, dwarf, reach a certain height and size, and then set the fruits, and it's done. And the way it's growing, and I remember growing it at Overton, you can wait and harvest it all at once. There's not a lot of big difference between this and that. Maybe a couple of weeks, but these will last. Okay, you see it is determinate because all the terminal points are flowers. There's no more new shoot developing. So that's it. It's about what? A foot, a little bit over a foot, and wide foot, but I've had it bigger at Overton when it was planted outside. Typical of tomatoes, some of the young lower leaves give you this coloration, iron or nitrogen or some kind of deficiency. So they were stressed at one time or another, but that's no big deal. You can easily remove them. And you can see that it is has fruits everywhere, from the bottom to the center to the top. Each cluster is about 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 fruits. And I counted, there's 25, 30 clusters. So let's say 30 times 10, 300 fruits. About 300 fruits from per plant. Cherry tomatoes, sweet and neat. They are sweet. They're not acidic. So they're great as a snack. Kids love them. Okay, so never sprayed with any pesticide or insecticide this time of year. It's growing indoor. It's cold outside. Disease pressure is low. few insects are there. We had a mouse in the greenhouse, but luckily it didn't bother the tomatoes. I left a lot of peanut butter traps around, so it fed on the peanut butter, distracted it from the tomatoes. And finally, one of the traps caught it. Okay, so this is a great system. It cost me $1,000. But if you're a handyman and you watch YouTube videos and you're willing to experiment, you can build this from 5-gallon buckets. I mean, you may need a tank like this or buy your own tanks, definitely a pump. I mean, you may need a few parts, but basically everything you can find at Lowe's and Home Depot, and you can design it. Maybe parts like this are not available at Home and Depot. This adapter and the emitters, this tubing, it may be a different color available, and emitters, emitters like that. No, this is the emitter here. This is just a tubing. Okay, so I have seen a lot of YouTube videos. They don't show you step by step on how to build it, but it can be done a lot cheaper. Okay, so 2 months old tomatoes. I guess in a couple of weeks I'll harvest and I'll take yields and I'll take this. Is it economically feasible? Not at this scale. Not when you have 40 plants. But if a full-size greenhouse, and in 2 weeks when there's no tomatoes outside and you have half an acre of greenhouses and they are producing, you can make a lot of money because you can demand any price you want. But 40 plants, 40 times 300 fruits, okay, you have a few pounds for a one-time deal. Nobody's going to buy that from you unless, for example, you go to a farmer's market. You can get the best price you can. Okay, next is the closed loop Dutch bucket system. Like you saw over there, the water goes out from the tank solution, goes same thing up to this point. It drips here into the bucket. Everything is the same. The difference is here at the end, instead of the water, return water going out as waste, it goes back into the tank. Okay, and the tank is filled with a fertilizer solution, greenhouse grade, 15, 510, or triple 20, that will work well. If you have access to water-soluble organic fertilizer, that can work too. The way I see it, plants don't know the difference between nitrate coming from a fish emulsion or bone meal or blood meal, not bone meal, or from triple 13. So why buy the expensive one? Buy the cheapest. Focus on organic pesticides that you spray because you may eat them versus a organic fertilizer that can be expensive. That's my opinion. Okay, that's not the truth. All right, here about a month ago we planted Mizuna in 10 buckets and Chinese cabbage, Becca Santo. Chinese cabbage is the loose leaf Chinese cabbage, is not going to form the closed head that you are familiar with the Chinese cabbage you find at the store. We put 2 plants per bucket. These are months old. We'll harvest them this afternoon. They're ready to eat. Mizuna, to me, is like mustard green, maybe a little milder depending on the variety. So you should be familiar with its taste. And of course, you're familiar with the taste of Chinese cabbage. This cabbage is not doing well. I hope you can see well in the screen. You see this yellowing of the leaves. To me, that's low nitrate or iron or magnesium deficiency. More than likely iron or magnesium deficiency. Okay, but they're edible. We're going to harvest them today. Each one of these plants is about half a pound to 3/4 of a pound. So definitely a couple of them is a meal for a couple of people. So we have 2, 4, 5. Here's a couple of meals for a couple of people in 1 month. This is a very expensive hobby, but It can be built outside if you are growing greens like this, and of course with a small frame with a plastic cover, so that the greens can tolerate the cold, that do tolerate the cold, can survive outside, and then this way you can produce year-round. This is operated every 3 hours for 10 minutes, so electric usage is minimal. The biggest cost is the initial setup. Everything else is cheap. You can build it any way you like once you understand the concept, and you have certain parts like the emitters and all this that you may have to find them from specialty stores. Okay, I don't see any questions yet, so we will proceed. So, today we're gonna eat dinner some mizuna, cooked with some olive oil, onion, sauteed onion, and garlic, and sauteed mizuna, and olive oil and lemon juice, magic recipe. Bok Choy. This was transplanted here, 10 days ago? 10 days ago. This is the NFT, nutrient film technique. Again, this is also a recycling closed loop system. The water goes out, drops here. On this end, there's a gentle slope, 1% slope, and then the return water goes to here and is collected and goes back to the nutrient solution. And again, check them regularly so that you make sure that the tank is never dry and you burn the pump that is sitting in there. It's on a timer, and again, this bok choy can be outside. It'll tolerate the cold better. Maybe you throw a blanket over it on some very cold night, and they will grow a lot faster. So I've seen something like this that was set up on a fence, on the inside, of your garden, on a fence, so that the wall of the fence was used as the growing space for all these greens. Great for parsley, cilantro, small greens like baby bok choy. Of course, baby bok choy and full bok choy is the same plant. It's just how soon you harvest it. And this is the same bok choy, just transplanted maybe a week earlier than the one in the NFT. That's why they are a little bit bigger. This is what we call deep water culture. Means the plants are growing in this is about 6 inches of water, nutrient solution, always nutrient solution. And there's on that end, you see the blue, that's the air stone bubbling, like the one you have in a fish tank. I think you can see it. You see the roots are ivory color, no disease, no brown, no rotting. They will never die as long as you add aeration. Just like these buckets here, this is the same idea, but on a single plant. This is just a bucket with an air pump going into it. And let me lift it, and you see here is, of course, this lid is specialty. You have to buy it or build it or create it. This is just sitting, this eggplant is just sitting in that nutrient solution, taking what it's need, and the air stone, you see that blue thing, bubbling air, feeding the plant. Beautiful ivory color roots, maybe some brown spots. So there is some issue here, but it's not a disease. Maybe the air is not enough for that plant. But it's doing well, it's growing. I may have to thin it on the inside, remove some of these useless branches, what we call suckering in plants, so I can focus on 4 or 5 leaders instead of 20 or 30 that if you count them all. And that's a tomato there, a month earlier, younger than those I showed you earlier, and they're doing much better. The only thing that is not doing well in the same system, planted at the same time, is pepper. This is what I call a struggling plant. It's growing slowly. I don't know why. The seed is 10 years old. but I doubt the seed age is an issue, because once it starts growing, it's going to start growing like any other plant. We don't know. Is it too close to the wall, too cold? It can get cold, or the nutrient solution is not strong enough. That is a possibility. We know that these three plants, the pepper, the eggplant, the tomato, are of the same family, and they all three are heavy feeders. If you don't know what heavy feeder, look it up. Heavy feeder is a plant that likes too much fertilizer and too much water. So whatever you give the average vegetable like cucumber and squash, double it for your heavy feeder plants. The beans and peas are called light feeders because they make their own nitrogen. So whatever you give your cucumber and squash, or recipe you are told for the cucumber and squash, cut it in half for your beans and peas. This is bok choy, extra plants we had, and I planted them here, and I left them for the only purpose of getting seeds. I encourage you to start getting the habit of making growing plants and leaving a few to collect your own seeds. Many seed companies online are restricting how much homeowners can purchase and when they can purchase. Johnny's Seed, for example, you can only place online orders on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not every day of the week, because everybody's panicking and buying seeds and not knowing what to do with it. So you have bok choy, cabbage, cauliflower, anything. Leave the 2-3 plants at the end of the bed where they are out of the way, and let them go to seed and collect them. It's a great, completes the cycle of growing the plant and learning everything about it from seeding to seeding. Okay? By the way, if you choose to eat them, these are delicacies in Asian cuisine. Look up recipes online for Asian cuisine, and like this, all of this is not wasted. All of that is eating. From this to here, all of that. And these are my 10-year-old mint. I told you last time, look up the video from last time, I repotted and repotted and repotted. And if you want to multiply your mint, it's very easy. Take some cuttings, clean some of the lower leaves so they don't rot in the water, just to make the water ugly. That's not necessary to remove it, and put them in a bucket of water and refill the water. It reroots very well and very fast, very easy, and you can be popular with your friends and neighbors if you give them mint, and then they take over the garden. So at first you're popular, everybody likes you, and then when it takes over the garden, you're not popular anymore when it becomes a weed. But hey, it's a great candy, a great snack. Take a leaf anytime, chew on it as a breath freshener, as a snack, add it in sandwiches, dehydrate, boil it as tea. And it's great for upset stomach. Look up all these medicinal old-timer recipes for herbs and spices. Okay, I think this is all I had to share with you. It's great to have plants growing year-round. Keep your hobby fine-tuned and keep you busy. Gardening is not book learning, is learning by doing. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I still kill plants, and I still make mistakes. So if you think you're the best, rethink, because nobody knows everything, including me. If you are interested, this is Moringa. It's 18% protein, popular in Central America. I've shown you this before. Popular in Central America, popular in Africa. Everything is edible for it, from the young shoots to the roots to the seed pods to everything. It's in the bean family, so it fixes its own protein. I'm gonna plant it outside, and of course it's gonna die to the ground, but then it comes back again. I'm gonna use these in my aquaponic research in the future, feed it to the fish and see how well they do, and if it can replace some of the expense of buying fish feed. And if you have a greenhouse and you're willing to experiment, then you can plant some papaya. They will only grow in a heated greenhouse. They will not do well if the cold kills them, burns them. This bear plant here is a male plant. It's interesting that the male plants shed all their leaves and then they come back. And then the female plants with all the fruits that you see here is doing well. So don't worry if you need both. You need one male plant for like 10 or 20 female plants, like any fruit trees. Tropical plant has to be heated. With that, here is a panoramic view of my botany greenhouse. Oops. Here is a view of my greenhouse. Please come visit. Make an appointment. Let me know when you want to come. Wear a mask, and I'll be happy to spend all the time you want. And have a wonderful day. Here's a question: does it help to keep the water warm, like with an aquarium heater? Not really. We did an experiment heating water for Bok Choy, and it did worse than cool water. So if it's in a greenhouse and the water temperature is not bad in the 20 C, like 70 plus, 65 plus, that will be fine. They will do fine. Very warm season crops, like if you're growing like tomato, they may benefit from warmer water, but it's not worth the expense. If the greenhouse is heated, the water temperature is fine. Any other questions? All right. You brought a good question. I wonder if the cooler water is doing this to the Chinese cabbage, because this is a complete fertilizer solution. I mean, greenhouse grade. Why is this not picking up the iron and the magnesium when this one is doing well? So it's possible that this does not like colder water temperature, and that's affecting assimilation of some of the nutrients. And finally, one thing I encourage you, if you want to be a gardener, get the toys, the nice toys. Something like this is about $25. It measures moisture, pH, and light level. I don't use the light and the pH, but I use it to measure the moisture content. It's better than guessing. It tells you if it's moist, dry, or wet. If you don't have to water it unless it reaches the red zone when it's dry. Don't invest in a cheap soil moisture probe for like a $5 one. Those are really toys. Invest in one. This is at least 8 years old and it's still working. So invest in a good quality one to get quality measurements, and it'll last longer. With that, you all have a wonderful, blessed day and stay healthy. Bye-bye. Thank you.